everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Now, I use that quote not because Mike Tyson is secretly Zazima, but because it relates very well with leagues. With the league's reveals and the preparation phase soon coming to an end, it's almost time for us to put our game-breaking builds into action. So, what is our plan? For some people, it's chasing Dragon Rank. For others, it'll be as simple as getting their first ever fire cape, or experiencing their first ever raid. What's important to note is that whatever goal you have set for the beginning of this league, it will most likely change by the end of the league. Speaking with first-hand experience from last leagues, I was planning on going a life-stealing mage, but after seeing how broken the Berserker relic was, I decided I had to have that instead. I also didn't originally have much interest doing clues last league, but after seeing how many points were on the board, and seeing how powerful the clue relic was in comparison to the other two relic choices in my opinion, I had a change of heart mid-season. I'm not saying you can't imitate someone as cool as Bodhi, or be as prepared as Foe when it comes to route planning or making your entire build. I just think it's important that people know that the fun is in the game mode itself, and not everyone's going to get Dragon Rank. There's a reason only 1% of players get it, but plenty of fun can be had everywhere else. With that being said, I thought it would be interesting to make a plan for myself and see how horribly off I am by the end of the league. First, I want to say what I plan for my regions to be, and that will inform what and why I'm choosing the relics that I am choosing. Beginning with my first region, I plan on picking Mauritania. This will be followed by the Fremmy region. And lastly, I plan on choosing Tiranwin, or Elf City. With my first relic choice, I plan on going Animal Wrangler, because I'm not a big fan of hunting, and with Red Chinchompa access through Elf City, Animal Wrangler seems like a good decision here to make it a little bit easier. For my Tier 2 relic, I plan on taking Dodgy Deals, as not only is this a great relic to solve thieving, it has plenty of unique uses, such as underwater agility training on Fossil Island and crafting training through Gemstalls. It also solves early game money problems. Lastly, because of my relic choices, I will also be able to easily steal blood shards from Mauritania and crystals from the elves in Elf City, with the crystals also being an excellent source of experience for both smithing and crafting. For my teleport relic, I will be taking the Clue Compass, as last leagues there were a ton of points on the board relating to all types of clues, and this league will continue that trend. Taking the Clue Compass teleport will allow me to complete loads of tasks while also offering me unique teleporting areas quickly, such as the Barrows chest thanks to nearby stash units, or to the Dagonoth Kings if I get the right clue. While we don't know what the third option is for Tier 4 relics, it would have to be something overpowered, such as combining the powers of Equilibrium and an overpowered variant of Production Prodigy, or last year's Slayer and Clue relics combined in order for me to even consider them. Furthermore, I believe with my current regions and relic choices, Golden God is completely redundant and is easily the worst relic in the entire leagues. So the choice of a second tier lower relic here is obvious through the use of the Reloaded relic. Using this relic, I will be picking up the Friendly Forager relic, which will solve any of my herb needs through both its primary function of herb collection, but also will lighten the need for large amounts of secondaries for potions using things such as Wines of Zamorak, as those will be difficult to obtain early in my regions. My next choice is to pick the Grimoire. It is believed that this relic will be in either the Tier 5 or Tier 6 relic options. I consider this to be a luxury pick, and without knowing the third relic option here, this one is subject to change. However, if I choose the Grimoire, I will gain access to Rigor, Augury, and Piety for some additional combat power, as well as access to the two spellbooks I normally wouldn't have access to in the Ancients and Archaeus spellbooks. This is important to note, as with the Fremmy region, I should have access to the Portal Nexus, and this will allow me to put the Barrows teleport into my player-owned house. Last season, the Archaeus spellbook was required to make a portal to Barrows in your player-owned house. In the battle between Total Recall and Banker's Note, I have decided to pick Banker's Note. My reasoning is that I would like to practice some of the endgame content, such as Theater of Blood, as well as make my life a little easier during some of the Echo bosses. In order to get the best benefit out of Total Recall, fights must not be in an instance, and in most cases for this league, endgame content such as the Inferno, Raids, and Echo bosses are all instanced. I will miss Total Recall, but it doesn't seem practical for learning and for endgame purposes to me. For what I expect to be the final relic choice, I plan on taking Last Stand. While all three options are interesting, I find Guardian to be a bit boring, and the Specialist Relic will require too much clicking to enjoy for an entire league, and may even prove difficult to maintain during some of the more challenging moments in Echo boss fights. Furthermore, I find Last Stand to be both beginner-friendly while learning new mechanics to a boss, as well as rewarding once mechanics are solved through the use of unique new methods for veterans of the game to play around with through the use of powerful new stat boosts for insane damage outputs. But what about combat masteries? Last league, I created a mage and later an alternate account that used ranged, so my plans for this league were to create a powerful melee build. Of course, with combat masteries, it's a little bit more unique. Rather than just choosing one of three attack styles, we get a combination of all three if we so choose. And while range is looking extremely powerful this league, I have decided to stick with a melee type build. I will begin by putting 6 points into melee. After that, it's anyone's guess. But currently, I am leaning into either 4 points of range, 3 points of range and 1 point of magic, or 2 points in both magic and range. But for the sake of this video, I think I have decided that I will go with a 6 melee, 3 range, and 1 magic point build. Now that I've shown you what I'm picking, I now want to talk to you about why I've picked those regions by showing you skill by skill what the purpose of each of those was. All of the combat stats are easily solvable with the eventual 32 times experience boost modifier, or even the earlier attainable 16 experience multiplier. However, I will discuss prayer. Through the use of the 32 times multiplier and access to Vorkath, attaining 99 pray will happen in no time, so there isn't a need to take Golden God just for prayer. Additionally, if you want earlier access to higher prayer, you can just kill Scurious. Through the choice of Banker's Note, runecrafting will be solved extremely quickly once enough essence has been acquired through monster drops. Runecrafting blood runes will also be an excellent way to make money if any is required. Construction is also solved with the use of Banker's Note, by allowing noting and unnoting of logs at the sawmill, and then planks to actually train the skill in a player-owned house. Agility is solved through the use of the Dodgy Deals Relic, and underwater thieving and agility training below Fossil Island. Another answer for early game agility is the Canifus Rooftop course, and late game agility gives access to the Hollowed Sepulchre in Morytania. The herb skill can be completed by taking the Freaky Forager Relic, which offers massive amounts of herbs while skilling, alongside a decreased need for secondary ingredients, with the ability to save 90% of secondaries used. The Dodgy Deals Relic is one of our cornerstone relic choices, which among other skill training methods, grants us numerous different routes to easily AFK 99 thieving and beyond. The Dodgy Deals Relic also allows us to train early game crafting through the use of the Gem Stall on Relica, in combination with the Banker's Note Relic. For endgame crafting, we gain access to Crystal Teleport creation through pickpocketing elves in Elf City. While I am not taking any relic that supports fletching specifically, Banker's Note can be used to aid in the process of fletching while woodcutting. Another fast method available to all regions is the ability to create broad bolts, and with money from Dodgy Deals, this should be easily obtainable. Like the fletching relic, I don't currently have a Slayer relic, and in fact, as of making this video, there isn't a Slayer relic in the game. However, through the power of combat masteries, alongside our region choices giving plenty of Slayer options, including the use of a Slayer helmet in Morytania, Slayer should be a breeze. As previously mentioned, I am not a fan of training hunting. Thankfully, with Red Chinchampas in Elf City and the Animal Wrangler relic, my time training hunting should become a speedy process. Mining can be solved through a combination of power mining iron, the Volcano in Elf City, soloing the volcanic mine, and shooting stars. Early game smithing can be solved through the use of quest lamps and rewards. Some manual smithing can be done up to 80 smithing if needed, but after that, the Dodgy Deals Relic allows us to pickpocket elf crystals to power train both smithing as well as the previously mentioned crafting. Fishing will be my most AFK skill, with the ability to AFK Karambwans for 25 minutes using the Animal Wrangler Relic. If I need a change of scenery, I can move to other fishing options, such as Shark in Morytania. Cooking is solved alongside fishing using the Animal Wrangler Relic, which allows me to automatically cook half of the food I catch. Fire making will be one of my weaknesses, as I have no relic to empower it. However, it is fire making, so I can wait until I have a 16 times multiplier and manually burn any log for massive experience gains. I can also get some firemaking experience from the Shades of Morton minigame in me-morytania. However, that's not that reliable, and I'd probably better off just burning logs manually. Woodcutting will also be a weakness with no direct relic to support it, but I will have access to Banker's Note to strengthen my ability to AFK train it. I will also have access to a Dragon Axe through Dagonoth Kings and even a Crystal Axe upgrade through Zolcano in Elf City. At first glance, farming seems like a difficult skill to conquer without the Overgrowth Relic. Thankfully, this season we will be getting a 5x growth rate on all farming plots, and many of my region's boss monsters will drop high-tier tree seeds. Because of this, I can do multiple tree runs every day for millions of farming experience daily. With all that being said, my plans for this league are to try to learn the Inferno and try to learn Theater of Blood a little bit. And during the league, I'm planning on being live for most of it, if not all of it, starting right at 6 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Central. You can find me at twitch.tv/IamPopo. I have provided a helpful image on where you can find me. You can find me at twitch.tv/IamPopo. Yes, this did take hours to create. If you found this video helpful in any way, and I hope that you did, I hope that you can leave a like and a subscribe if you feel like it. You don't have to. It's up to you. It'd be cool, though.